podcast. Insert funny quip here. I'm Captain Rob.
I'm Billy.
I'm the Podmeister Logan.
I'm just Steve this week.
Steve of the Boat, King of the
Steve
Beef
of
Broth.
the Boat, King of the Beef Broth.
I have a nickname.
Because you're dumb.
I was thinking about that earlier. I went through all of our names.
You have one, it's just not when you're
Billy was
around.
last.
You can be you'll be Special Bill. That's what
I don't like that one
He's
either.
just a
That
Bill.
nickname makes my eyes right.
All right, we got a lot of interesting and fun stuff to talk about this time. We have a special unboxing ceremony, I guess. I guess a ceremony. I like that.
We'll call it a ceremony.
Steve ordered one of the loot crates where they send you a bunch of random, fun, awesome nerd stuff. And he hasn't opened it yet. We're going to open it here live on the pod or delayed if you're
Recorded
listening to this
on the
later.
pod.
Recorded on the pod. So why don't we start out with that? Let's do that.
Okay.
Is it a subscription service?
It's a subscription service.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Basically, every month they
every
send you. It's like $20 in it.
Yeah, $20. That's with shipping. So
They send you a little tiny box, about a I don't know, 8
Half a
inches by 8
shoebox.
inches. Yeah, half a shoebox, sure.
Yep.
Filled with random good stuff, and we're going to see what he got this
they
time.
usually say it's about $40 or $50 worth of stuff.
Yeah,
I
probably
guess
just like their overstock and
they
whatnot
probably
that
get
are
on
really
board,
awesome.
yeah.
That's kind of what
But they have themes. Like this month's theme is launch. It's all space related stuff.
Ooh.
They said it's not exactly NASA or anything. They said it could be superheroes, sci-fi, things like that, but it's all kind of space related.
Now, let me ask you this. Is it because it's a subscription service? I had a little trouble.
It's a prescription service.
Because it's a subscription service, is it a contract situation where
Nope.
like you have to commit for so many months?
Cancel anytime.
Okay.
I'm just on a 1 month recurring thing, so
Okay. I'm just curious.
I'm going to open it up.
I mean, it's a
Here
little
we
more
go.
than the cost of an MMO per
First
month.
thing
Bro.
I see is a little Superman.
Oh, that's awesome.
Figure.
Oh, that's cool. That's one of the
Little
pops.
big-headed Superman with
Yeah.
Pass it around.
Is he a Bob? Oh no, he's actually the movie Superman.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah, it's
awesome.
one of the vinyl pops.
Nice.
Those are actually really cool.
Looks
Next
like
thing.
Superman from the movie.
Oh,
Nice.
cool. A Delta Shield.
A Delta Shield, Rob says it's called.
Patch?
Yeah.
Also,
It's a sticker, but it's
us
like a,
laymen would know it as the Star
looks-
Trek symbol.
it's
It looks
like
like a
it's like a
vinyl
vinyl-
sticker thing.
yeah, it's like a vinyl
Okay.
sticker.
Like a decal.
Yep.
All right.
A decal.
Put that on your car or something, bro.
Sweet sauce.
Put it on your dick.
It's on my dick already.
A NASA badge.
And that's it. You said it's not like NASA or anything.
Well, not like
Yeah.
I guess like
Exclusively.
NASA.
A NASA badge,
NASA
like an
badge.
actual patch,
I got a little button.
a bouton.
It says First in Space, January 2014 launch. About Loot Crate.
Oh, nice.
Don't know what this has to do with space, but a little vinyl sticker of a Rubik's Cube melting.
Yeah, that's very spacey.
That's really not spacey.
Maybe it's
No,
because
on
you
a
get really high on
slightly
acid,
related note.
and it looks like this.
I got distracted by a thread on Reddit that I spent at least 2 hours watching people solve Rubik's Cubes.
That's why you don't have a nickname, Billy.
It is the Star Wars Pocket Model trading card game. With like the little...
Yeah, it's
Oh,
one of the blind
the little
packs.
fold out.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Those are actually really cool. I used to play that.
They're fairly expensive, though.
4 to 8 models.
It looks like it's what is it, a little ad on the back? That's awesome. Oh, no, there's a few different ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're blind packs, so you don't know what you're going to get. You could
Oh,
get
okay,
AT-ATs,
okay.
you could get TIE Fighters. I had so many X-Wings and TIE Fighters.
It's pretty cool.
Oh, that's neat. It's an actual booklet. It's like a little magazine, like describing and like talking about all the stuff that you got.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
Oh yeah, and every month they give away a mega crate.
Like to someone at random.
Yeah, it's like a random prize.
Does everyone get the same stuff in their box? Yeah. Okay, I didn't know that.
But this, and it's like valued at over $500. But this month it's a Game Capture HD, which apparently is a nice product. A Star Trek Tribble, Star Wars plush ships, Curiosity Rover Lego thing,
Let's see a Minecraft torch.
a Minecraft torch, and a Star Trek Enterprise cutaway model.
Nice.
Cool.
So like that's the random giveaway that they have. It's got like a little
I see it. That's pretty cool.
crossword.
Little description
Words.
of the things he got in the box, which is
Yeah.
really cool.
Is it just one of those a month given out or something?
Yeah.
Okay.
Issue 006.
That's fun. It's a book. It's the Star Wars Galactic Phrase Book and Travel Guide.
That's actually really cool.
That's neat. And then there's one more thing here. Oh, neat. It's a 2014 Minecraft calendar.
Oh,
Nice.
cool.
Good gift on January.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good gift in December.
It would have been such a funny gift to get if it was 2013.
Yeah.
They're like, we didn't plan
They're all
well.
the same days. They're just different
You can
orders.
use it again in, what is it, 8 years?
Yeah.
Is it 8 years?
It's something like that.
It's a quarter.
Billy's having a stroke.
No, it's 365 and a quarter days in a year. So it would be... No, that's too much to think.
No.
I just watched his face melt. That was pretty awesome.
Billy just had, like, he's literally like,
Like, I'd have to write it down and pay attention.
What are you pulling out Superman?
Yeah, those Funko Pops are all really, really cool. I like them a lot.
So yeah, that's this month's loot crate. I'd say
Awesome.
it's worth $20.
Yeah,
That's
definitely.
pretty cool.
After seeing this, I'm definitely going to want to get on board with that. That's pretty
You
nice.
sign up, and I think the first month you can use the coupon code GETLOOT, like no space. They take $3 off.
That's awesome. Cool. Well, that's a cool way to start the pod. We got a lot of awesome stuff to start out. Anybody have anything breaking that they want to start out with? Steve, I want you to tell it. I won't steal your thunder.
Okay.
Tell the news from that we found out yesterday.
I found this out like 2 weeks ago.
Well, I mean that. Yeah. Okay.
Fox is changing the
theme or
the theme or the spirit of their Gotham TV show. I apologize for the noise. I'm trying to put this Superman figure back, and it's
just throw it on the bed.
Back in your hole, Superman.
I got it. I will not be deterred.
You won't beat a turd.
I won't be deterred.
I'm not above beating a turd.
They changed the format. It's not going to focus as much on Jim Gordon beginning, but it's going to focus on a young Bruce Wayne as he grows up.
From 12 until he puts on the cape was the official thing.
They said the plan is the series finale is going to be him putting on the costume.
Which sounds very familiar to another show we've gotten used to, but also, you'll note, sounds very familiar to Kevin Smith and Paul Dini's thing that they created, kind of on the spot, spitballing back and forth. I'm
you almost have to wonder.
So on board.
Paul Dini got back and he's like, "Look, guys, I'm going to call Warner Brothers and we're going to let them know, fuck them, this is what's happening."
Honestly, like when I think about the show that would have been just about Jim Gordon and stuff, and it could, I think it would have been interesting. But God, how much material can you really cover there?
It just would have become another
It
crime
would have just
drama.
been a cop show, but as in
with
Gotham.
the hope of maybe seeing Batman sometime.
Yeah, but they swore in Gotham that you'd never see Bat, so that was kind of the thing.
Because it was before he was in...
I mean, you get a lot of really cool little like moments. Oh, which actually segues well into this point. What I asked you before we started the pod was if you're reading Dark Knight, and I was saying that In the Dark Knight is probably my favorite writing of Batman as a character ever, because they've made him, he's still very, very serious, but when he's around people that he cares about, or people that kind of know him, so to speak, he is a little goofier, not
Showing
goofier, but
personality though.
he like in this, actually in the issue 26, he does his classic walk up behind Jim Gordon while he's looking at a crime scene. And he says something like, yeah, Clayface went out that way, and Jim Gordon, like, jumps or whatever. And he was like, oh, God, I didn't see you there. He's like, I hate it when you do that. Now, what were we saying? He was like, well, he said you let out a little yelp and dropped your cigarettes. And he was like, there was no yelp, but moving forward, they, like, start talking. And then at the end of the book, at the end of that issue, Batman is coming up. He says, and I got to look at the exact phrase because it made me laugh so hard I was fucking crying sitting there reading it. Batman like walks up behind Jim Gordon. He says, "It's me. I'm behind you in the shadows. I'm going to speak now. It's Batman." It made me laugh so hard. It was like finally a warning. It made me laugh so hard.
That's funny.
I'm behind you in the shadows. But it's really like Dark Knight is really well written like that. That's what I really like about how kind of goofy he is. Like I talked about him and Alfred and stuff before.
Yeah. And another thing about the Gotham TV show, they're also promising that we're going to see several villains' origins. They said Catwoman, Riddler, Penguin, things like that.
Good.
See those
Penguin
origins.
for sure. That would make the most sense.
Yeah. We're going to see a lot of those origins.
Catwoman seems weird, because isn't she younger than Bruce? So she'd be...
No, they could be around the same age.
They could be around. I mean, I guess, I don't really know official
Stereotypically,
ages.
in every iteration we've seen of her, she's a couple years younger than him, though.
I don't know. Like I said, I can't really think of anything that's ever really said she's younger other than just kind of looks younger because she's hot. You know what I mean? He always kind of looked like stoic, like 30s, you know, whatever. I mean, granted, in New 52, he's 28, I think. But,
Is that how old he's supposed to be now?
I think it's 28 when he comes back to Gotham. No, he's 25 when he comes back to Gotham. And so that would make him 31 in New 52 in normal continuity because they always say 6 years later is after 0 year. So that would make sense. So he's about 31 then.
Wow. I didn't realize they brought him back so young.
They brought him actually.
Superman's young too, isn't he?
Yeah,
How did they explain that with the kid and all?
Superman's 28. What?
He said, how did they explain the continuity? Well, kind of, but he would have had
Batman.
he would have had the
Damian
kid
was
before
grown.
he was...
Oh, that's right.
Damian wasn't just a normal 12-year-old boy. Damian was grown in a lab until he was, I think, 6. And then they start training him.
That's right.
Then how the fuck do they explain Nightwing?
That's actually what...
That could be just a younger partner.
Nightwing has... I think they're... I'm not exactly sure what they're doing yet with Nightwing. I actually just read... I just read Nightwing 0 Year, which I thought, how does Nightwing get a 0 year? Because he doesn't really have an origin that's not Batman's origin, you know? And it's not really his origin, so to speak. It's just like the first time he ever fought back against somebody. And it was when he's still deep in the circus before his parents are murdered, that kind of thing. He goes to Gotham when they happen to come by to go see a movie, and this weird event happens that happens in 0 Year, which is all the power shuts out, and it's him just making it back to the surface, and he ends up kicking this big monster in the head and escaping. It's kind of a boring story, but
0 Year.
Nightwing, they gave all the Bat family a 1-issue 0 Year except Batman. They gave him a big, I think 6-issue, story arc. Did you guys hear? And speaking of which, do you want to say anything about 0 Year now that it's kind of wrapped up?
It's a year-long thing.
Is it? I thought it was at its end.
No.
Oh. Well, it's what are we, 6, 7 issues in now?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Well, I thought it was nearing its conclusion.
Nope.
Just because of he's put on the cape and shit now. Now we're in year 1. It's like kind of territory, but
yeah, they're just calling it 0 Year, but it's still kind of a year 1. He's still got to figure out the Riddler.
Oh, shit. That's right. He still hasn't beaten the Riddler yet. Who's also pretty cool. I like his ridiculous sideburns and shit.
Yeah.
He just looks like a hippie. I heard. I'm gonna say in advance. I've stolen some info from Kevin Smith's Fat Man on Batman podcast. I didn't hear this directly myself from the news, but I'm stealing it from them because it is news. Did you guys see that they pushed back Batman versus Superman to 2016?
First item on my list.
Yeah,
awesome.
I actually saw that as well.
But a large part of that is because there's a rumor that they're going to fill Batman versus Superman and Justice League back to back.
The rumor that I had heard was that it was
Justice League.
That because they said that Zack Snyder and Goyer need more time to refine their vision, and a lot of people are saying that they're just turning Batman versus Superman into Justice League.
Yeah,
because there has been some rumors in the casting vine that they're looking for Aquaman and who else was it? Aquaman and Martian Manhunter.
Yeah,
that they've already started scouting for them. Who knows? They'll either do the 5 or the 7, probably. Or it could just be the Trinity, and then they tack on a few extra people who make sense to bring into it at the time. But if they went full balls to the wall and just said, fuck it, and did a Justice League movie, I've been saying the way that DC needs to do it is to do it backwards from Marvel. Yeah. Marvel has captured and done exceptionally well with introducing each character, then bringing them into the fold as the Avengers. Justice League needs to be, here's all the Justice League. They're so well known anyway. They're iconic, so much more so than a lot of Marvel characters. People really don't know about Thor other than, comic book people.
Adventures in Babysitting,
Exactly. Exactly. But I think DC should do it backwards, where they're like, here's all the characters, and even if they just give them like a 1-sentence explanation of their backstory, and then take it into the movie or whatever they do.
The scenario I read, which I think would personally be ideal, it would be a little bit more waiting for us, but if they do actually end up doing Batman versus Superman and then Justice League back to back, like 2 separate films, but having Batman versus Superman almost being a prelude, where it ends on a cliffhanger, and then the next year it's Justice League is immediately it ends with Batman versus Superman ends with them coming together, and then the Justice League movie is immediately afterwards, like a sequel.
I'd be okay with that.
But now it's Justice League.
Well, if Batman's established, then he could be
he could have already been gathering.
You need to be. He'll be the Tony Stark of the group.
It could be them doing their thing, and then the Batman vs Superman ends where he's let me call in my support. Or
as long as we have some kind of resolution, though. Because I hate it when movies specifically have hey guys, there's going to be another movie coming out, so this is all just a setup for you guys to want to go see that one. I want to have a beginning, a middle, and an end. Yeah. And then after a resolution where everybody's happy, then, sting us and, do the whole, hey, tease the Justice League after we have the first resolution. Otherwise, it's going to feel like how the Lord of the Rings films felt for so many people.
Oh, it wasn't Martian Manhunter. Martian Manhunter was was one of the other people that there was rumors of it, but it was John Stewart Green Lantern. That's who it was.
Oh yeah,
that was the other person.
The Rock as
I would be so angry if they go with Jon
I know
Stewart.
you will. I like Jon Stewart, so I'll be happy.
That's fine that you can like him, but he's not the...
The Rock would make him not boring.
I think
The Rock would be
Green
a
Lantern.
I still want to see The Rock as Lex Luthor.
I still really like Kyle Rayner.
I'm on it now.
I want to see
Kyle
The Rock
Rayner
as
is probably
Black
the
Adam.
least iconic Green Lantern.
He's still my favorite.
I don't know. He was Ion. He was kind of everything that embodied the Green Lanterns for a little while.
Well, he was
Yeah.
everything
And
that
now
embodied
he's kind
all
of-
of the lanterns.
Now he's
though.
kind of the
And
White Lantern. So
And I
it's a
love
big
that
deal.
stuff. Yeah, he's always been
I don't
like the
dislike Kyle, don't
exactly.
get me
He's
wrong.
been that kind of a guy. He's the guy that you already have the established group, and then you got Hal, who's the Red Ranger, but then Kyle comes in, and he's the
Harold.
Green or the White Ranger.
Steve. Steve found out that Hal Jordan's real name is Harold, and it's
And he
just
won't leave it
he
alone.
won't stop giggling about it.
Everybody in DC's forgotten.
Even Superman and Batman don't
If I'm
remember
just
it's
now
Harold.
finding this out, then clearly they've forgotten.
Harold Highball Jordan.
Yeah, and someone's like, "Hey, Batman, did you hear what Hal's real name is?" He's like, "I don't know, Halbert. Like, what are we talking
Is it
about?"
Halbert? Is it Halford?
Howlin'?
Howland.
Howard?
Howard? Billy, you missed the joke.
Howard.
Oh, I was like, you missed the joke, Billy. Henry.
John?
Is it Hugo? Batman, you're just like things that begin with H now.
Is it Steve?
Seth.
No, Steve. You said that. Damn it.
Swanson.
Simmy, swimmy, swummy,
Slappy.
swimmy, slappy.
Samsonite.
Samsonite.
And he's like Swanson, Samsonite. He even says it like that's my favorite thing.
Oh, they've posted the first official photo from that as well, the new Dumb and Dumber
They
movie.
posted that a while ago.
No, that
Well,
was
that
like
was just-
demo.
that was-
set
yeah, on
piece.
set.
Oh, okay.
So apparently it's done filming.
no,
Well, yeah, that's a
and-
movie they could do in like a
And
month.
the Fairley brothers apparently said it might be the funniest movie ever.
He
Like,
did
it
that.
might
One of
actually
them did
be
an
considered
Emma,
that.
and I can't remember which one of the Fairley brothers.
It was,
did it.
I thought you were talking
Peter Farrelly?
Jeff Daniels
Yeah.
did one too.
He Peter. I think it was Peter Farrelly's the one who actually does the directing, right?
I think so.
He one of them does the writing and one
Peter
does
and
the
Bobby.
directing.
Yeah.
And I think I'm pretty sure it was Peter in the Emma. He said it was so funny. He was like, "What's the most awkward moment you had on set?" Because he said when me and Bobby got onto our first movie, I can't remember which one it was. He said when we got on our first movie, and he thought he was directing with me. He was like, did it in air quotes. He was like, then I had to tell him that no, he wasn't directing with me. He was working for me. I was like, that's pretty awesome. But he says he was like, I know it's just going to sound like somebody trying to promote their movie. He's like, but this is the funniest movie we've ever made.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to see it. And somebody said, did they get that? Did you kind of capture that lightning in a bottle like you did once before? And he said he was like, it had nothing to do with us. He said it's Jeff Daniels and Jim Carrey together. He said that He said Jeff Daniels is better at it than Jim Carrey because without Jeff Daniels, Jim Carrey can't be as funny as he is. He basically said Jeff Daniels plays such a great character for Jim Carrey to work from that it makes it even funnier.
Have you guys heard the plot
No.
of it? Like they released the official plot summary. Thankfully it takes place 20 years afterwards, so it's like real time. So like they're supposed to look as old as they are, but something causes them to go. Well, I can tell you what it is, but they have to go on a cross-country journey to find one of their illegitimate sons so that they can get a kidney from one of them.
No. One of my favorite lines that nobody ever talks about in Dumb and Dumber was, what's he say? He says something like, about the bird's head falling off, and Jeff Daniels goes, "Yeah, he's been getting old." And there's just like just this one-off thing that nobody ever pays attention to, but I laughed till I fucking cried. When
Our
I saw
pets'
that.
heads are falling off!
It's before that. He's like, his head fell off. He's like, yeah, he's been getting old. And it's just like a normal thing. But I can't wait to see that movie. I'm super stoked about it.
Well, I guess other Justice League stuff, because we got like the first 3 things on my list just knocked right out.
You're welcome.
This is all just conversations that are being had. Like there's no really officiality to this, I guess, if you will.
A word. I'll accept it.
That's a word, I think.
Officiality.
Officialness.
Some officialness is better.
Sounds more
Steve.
official than that. But Stephen Amell, who plays Green Arrow, he has talked about, or he told people that he's had discussions with Warner Brothers about being in a Justice League movie. So
Interesting.
He's not bad at acting it, but he just doesn't. He'll never have the look right for me.
if his hair was more blonde, I think he'd be fine.
It would help drastically, but like as of right now, he just looks like I can't think of the age
Muscular,
bracket.
beautiful man who is in great shape.
I think it helps.
A sex icon, essentially.
I think it helps now that if I'm not mistaken, I believe in the TV show he's actually wearing the domino mask.
He just got the me and Trish talked about that. It was the end of last season that
You guys watch that show actively, yeah?
She watches it religiously. I catch episodes with her now and then.
What do you think of it?
I enjoy what I've seen. Like, I'm not as
asking you, Steve.
As invested in the plot as she is, but she absolutely obsesses over it.
I liked their version of Huntress.
Yeah. She's a huge
I
Green Arrow
heard
fan.
that. So maybe you told me that before, but
Side note, the chick that played Black Canary in it is going to be at Comic-Con.
I think it's African American Canary, but whatever.
She's crazy hot for the record.
Yeah, her name is fuck, I saw it on the
Starts with a K.
Crispy.
Krispy Kreme. That's it. We got it.
It's something weird too. It's Krista something.
Krista Kreme.
Something weird?
It's Krista Kreme. That's also. I really need to start watching that show. Other DC news still. Did you see that the Adam West Batman TV run is officially going to be on Blu-ray and DVD for the first time?
I did see that. I'm excited for that.
Makes me excited.
Spiel? How long was that? Like how many episodes?
It wasn't long.
I think they had 3 seasons.
Yeah, that sounds right.
For some reason, my brain assumes that.
Well, it was in
like
syndication for a long
almost.
time. Yeah.
The problem with it was, I guess that because back in the 60s and even like 70s and 80s, when TV shows were coming on like that, they had no contracts that would say, then it's going to go to video and stuff, because that really didn't happen. So many companies had bought rights to it that for literally the last 50 years they've been trying to reassemble the rights to all into one
nobody
group
even
so
knew
they
who
could
had
be-
it, really.
Exactly, that was a big problem
Nobody
too.
could say, "Hey, you did this. Now we want our
They
cut."
couldn't risk putting it out there, and then somebody chiming in and saying, "Oh, you owe me a piece of that." So now they've whichever company it is now that's finally gathered all the rights together is releasing it on DVD and Blu-ray next year, which makes me happy.
Yeah, so we'll finally have more than just the movie that he did.
Fun fact related to that as well, and Arrow. I'm going to seg these two together. Clock King, who initially showed up the very first time in the Adam West Batman, is going to show up in Arrow. He's
really?
Adam West
He already is
Batman
in-
character. Yeah, he's in Arrow now. I just thought that
the
was
last
cool.
season.
It's like the first episode of the Brave and the Bold cartoon was like Batman and Green Arrow fighting
Versus
Clock King.
That's
Like,
cool.
that was like the intro to it.
The last season of Arrow actually introduced a lot of characters in general,
Bronze Tiger, played by Michael J. White.
and
Who I think would be a great Jon Stewart.
they did a really good job with
Idris Elba would be good.
He'd be great as everything. I
um,
agree with that.
Slade.
Wilson Slade?
Yeah, with that
Deathstroke?
Deathstroke. Thank you.
Terminator?
Either of those guys could do Tyler Perry and just like do the whole play every single character in the movie, just like
If Idris Elba
split
was
screen it.
Let's not say Tyler Perry. Let's say who did it better, Eddie Murphy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that works too.
Yeah.
Tyler Perry, what is this?
I want Idris Elba to be every character in every movie I've ever watched. And then just, I love him. Throughout
Like
them.
Multiplicity, but serious.
He'd be great in Multiplicity.
I guess
Fighting
more
himself.
DC TV news.
Yeah.
It doesn't stop, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, DC's been kind of on a roll here.
They kind of
NBC has greenlit the Constantine pilot.
Ooh.
They
excites me.
read it and they're like, "Yeah, make it."
Nice.
He
He better be fucking British this time.
Yeah, if they don't do him right, I'm gonna be so disheartened.
We've talked about this on the pod. I never was really big into Constantine. I've read a few things that have had him in there, but then Rob talked so favorably about him, and I've been reading a lot of him in Justice League Dark and starting in New 52, and I kind of love him. He's a really cool character.
The NBC chairman was quoted as saying that the pilot is dark, interesting, and witty.
Okay.
That's
if
all
you
three
really
words that work.
enjoy that character, you really need to read the Felix Castor series.
Yeah.
Yeah, you would like that.
It's like a mellow version of Constantine.
Is that where he goes to hell? There's one that
It's like Constantine meets Dresden almost.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was a Constantine.
No,
book
it's
that you were
written by
talking
the guy
about.
that wrote Constantine.
Interesting.
That's why it's
Yeah.
like the longest run on Constantine was the guy that did that.
I think we've talked about this before.
I think you listened to the latest episode. I haven't listened to it yet,
what?
but it's news, Batman on Batman.
Yeah.
But it's news everywhere that Kevin Smith saw another photo of Ben Affleck in the Batman suit.
In Batman on Batman, he just talked about the one. He didn't say.
This is a new one.
So it must have happened.
It's a new
after he
story.
Recorded it then.
Once again, brought to him by Snyder.
Yeah.
Snyder showed him a photo. It's like Batman, like on rooftops, like Batman sitting there, and like in the background is like Superman looming over him.
I think that's he's talked about that in the podcast, but he said that's the photo he showed him at that Comic-Con.
Oh, but he's giving more details on
Oh,
it now.
yeah. Okay, because he did describe that more.
Yeah, he's giving it more details, I guess. But so he's like,
he still won't describe the costume, though.
but he's he said anybody who's a comic book fan is going to recognize.
He said anybody who's a fan of the original costume, or no. He said anybody who's a fan of the Batman comics is going to be is going to appreciate it. Yeah,
and he's confirmed that there's no nipples, so that's something.
It's important.
But like the rest of the story, he goes, "Oh, that looks good." Winner, he goes, "What? Who'd you get to get in that suit?" And Snyder was like, "It's your boy. That's Affleck." And he's like,
"That's your boy."
What?
I got your boy. He like whispered it in his ear. He's like, "It's your boy." Like, "It's your boy." But he was like, "What?" He like freaked out about it, and he said that, what's his balls was behind him in the Superman suit too.
Yeah,
the
guy from the
fucking
Henry
Cavill. Yeah.
And Jennifer Garner actually also confirmed some things about it at the SAG Awards. Like somebody's interviewing her, they're like,
she's not involved in it, is she?
No, but she's married to Ben Affleck.
That's great, but I just don't want her to be in it. I hate her as an actress.
I said Jen Affleck. Well,
Jennifer,
that works.
Jennifer, yeah,
that works. Jen Affleck.
But somebody like the interviewer was like, "Oh, how would you like if he came home as Batman?" She was like, "I couldn't get him out of the suit."
Yeah.
And she was like, "I've seen it though." And she goes, "Well," the reporter obviously doing her job. She's like, "Tell us about it."
Yeah.
And she was like, "It's amazing. It's a reinvention," is the word she used. So
we need to see it. I'm just so sad that it's pushed back, but that means that probably at some point this year we'll get to see at least pictures of it. He also said that Kevin Smith said in his thing that and this is the only place he'd ever heard it from. He hadn't heard any news or anything, but TMZ called him and asked him if he would give them some information about how Ben Affleck hurt his leg on the set of filming Batman.
Yeah, it's been all over the place now.
He said he was like, I don't know that he did hurt his leg. I don't know anything about that. He said that he didn't know if that's why they pushed it back or whatever. But yeah, that's TMZ called him and asked him about it, and he was like, I have no idea what's going on with the Ben Affleck. I haven't talked to him in 2 years.
Yeah.
But, so yeah,
that's the other rumor as to why they've pushed it back is because he hurt
himself.
Yeah.
I can't wait to fucking see it. Like at first, I was almost depressed when I first heard.
We all were,
and then like I've been coming around more to it, and Kevin Smith's made me happy about
it. I defended
him
it at first. In my defense,
in your defense, in the defense of Billy's defense,
I did. And you guys gave me shit.
I was okay within a few hours, but the initial,
it shocked me. It blew me away. But I still said, "Fuck it, let's see what happens."
Fucking, so I'm waiting to see it. I can't wait. Speaking of, I'm only going to mention this because I don't want to go into somebody else's podcast news, but something I learned actually was from that Fat Man on Batman, the most recent one, is he talks about, he has a guy on there who wrote this book about Bill Finger, and I don't know if any of you guys know who this person is.
Designed Batman.
But yeah, the guy goes into great lengths to say that Bob Kane was full of shit and that he had very little to do with Batman, even though he basically stole the credit from his best friend.
Oh, that's the thing. Yeah, Bill Finger.
That's like an underground thing.
Bill Finger is like credited.
I never knew him
as like the co-creator of Batman. Yeah.
According to this dude, he is the creator of Batman. Like he said that Bob Kane's sketch of what he wanted like for this character
was
bright red with wings and like this big ridiculous costume, and that
it's out there if you can find it. There's those sketches.
That's what he said he got, but he apparently wrote a whole book on it. It's called Bill the Boy Wonder, the secret story of the co-creator of Batman, or the secret co-creator of Batman, or something like that.
It's called Bob Kane is an asshat.
Yeah, but like there's a bunch of like shady shit that goes on with it, but apparently
it's a common thing in comic books. Like there's a lot of stuff that Jack Kirby never got credit for, and that's part of the reason why Jack Kirby ended up going and doing his own shit and just doing, okay, I'm making all new characters that do their own thing. I write, I draw, I do all of it. Yeah. Because there was a lot of creators, including Stan Lee, who take a lot of credit for things that a lot of other people that were around them were like, you know, like it was a lot less one-sided than it gets made out to be. But I mean, especially back then, there wasn't the internet, there wasn't, social media, stuff like that. Didn't get talked about.
That blew my mind because he went on to talk about how he wrote the first basically issue and the first like several important moments of Batman. He named Bruce Wayne, named Dick Grayson, he named created Catwoman, Penguin, the Riddler, the Joker, like all these important characters. He was like, he is the father of Batman, not Bob Kane. Bob Kane just basically stole the info from his friend, and
a lot of people in the comics industry are.
But he called, I guess after Dark Knight Rises came out, or was going to come out, he was calling DC and asking them if they would put not any like, anything that would cause a fuss, like, co-creator of Batman or anything like that, but that they would just put like a writer of the first issue of Batman, because that's a fact. It's an indisputable fact. And he, I guess the statement that he got back was, we're not discussing this, and they just hung up on him. So I guess a big deal. It's apparently a big deal at DC. But Yeah, that just blew me away. I never knew any of those things. I didn't know any of that shit. But I'm going to actually check that book out because I'm interested in it.
A couple of the little movie, TV things. I'll just run through these ones real fast so we're not spending too much time talking about it. Another thing that's been huge news with Michael Douglas cast as Hank Pym in the Ant-Man film. I think I'm okay with it.
I'm okay. The reason I'm okay with it is that when they do him older like that, they can leave in the bad stuff without making him an icon, basically. They can't make their frontman superhero a wife beater, but they can say his predecessor was, and then not be and still be Disney friendly and okay. Yeah, and I'm okay with that.
I don't know enough about the character, but I thought it was just weird to see him in any concept of a superhero.
He said he's been excited. He said his quote was, "I've been dying to be in a Marvel film."
I guarantee he's not going to be in any sort of action-y stuff. He's just going to be a scientist
break
behind
himself. Jesus Christ.
He's going to be on the
He's just going to be one of the scientists who...
I was going to say, the guy's what, like 60-something in real life?
Yeah, he's older than that.
Is he?
I believe so. Could be wrong. I'm probably
wrong. I don't know.
Other than that, because of the fact that Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.'s ratings have been plummeting, because I think they finally got hip to the fact that it's nice and all that if you want to make a Marvel TV show without any of the superheroes, but eventually we're going to want to see some of those superheroes.
I think that's also part of the reason why Gotham is changing the whole idea, because it's like I said, how far could you go before we're like, I'm tired of this cop drama.
They're going to start, well, I guess this is the first one, they're going to kind of start bringing in more characters. Yeah. They're starting with a fairly small one, but Jamie Alexander will be showing up in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. as Sif from Thor. So there's that. That's all I really have on that.
We should be getting close to wrapping up the seasons for most television shows.
Oh, no, just had episode 12.
How many are typically in a season? For an hour?
16, I thought.
Usually not for hour-long shows. They're not.
No, that's true.
It's like somewhere between 14 and 16, close. So we should be real close. Sleepy Hollow wraps up this weekend.
I haven't got to catch up yet.
I'm only 2 behind. You haven't missed many if you haven't watched it since Christmas, because they've only had 2.
Yeah. I don't remember what the last one I watched
Other
was.
Small bit of movie news. Star Wars Episode 7 script is finished.
Awesome.
J.J. Abrams has said that they're deep in pre-production now, but it is finished.
It's still going to be too long before we see it.
Yeah. As is with all things we love.
Fox is making a Magic the Gathering movie.
They've talked about this a dozen
No, it's
times,
happening
though.
now. It's...
What would the plot be?
They could be very awesome. It's got to be a Planeswalker thing.
Because, that's the first time they've really solidified a story that doesn't walk on its own continuity.
Yeah, to preface this a little bit.
No, let me clarify. Is it going to be a story about the actual, like a game story, or...
No, it's like in the world.
Okay, that's what I want.
Yeah, they've done comic books.
That's okay. I can explain a million things that way. That makes sense. But I was like, how are they going to be
about like people playing?
No, it's not like Fanboys, the card...
I was like, I don't want to watch that movie.
The way the Magicverse works is it's actually every set's based off of a whole storyline, essentially. And originally it used to be just like independent little, we're on this world, and this is the story of this world, and here's what's happened, and... Like, a good one was Lorwyn's example. It was just a fantasy world where it told the story of, like, elves and this corruption and all that. But I think it was right after Lorwyn, actually. No, it was in Lorwyn they introduced the Planeswalkers.
Well, Planeswalkers have always been around, but the new wave of Planeswalkers was...
The way they changed Planeswalkers.
Yeah, that was around that time, yeah.
Essentially, these guys can ignite a spark and jump from world to world in the universe and... affect the entire outcome because they have this overwhelming amount of power compared to normal mortals.
Yeah. Originally, Planeswalkers were just people that basically could use spells by pulling energy from whatever planet they were on and basically bring things from another plane to existence. And that's how they right away the whole, I'm casting the spell, I'm, summoning this creature. It's them reaching through the ether and throwing a creature from another dimension.
Okay.
So that's how they were originally planning it out.
So the player is a Planeswalker?
Yeah. But then they kind of explained that, what happens is a planeswalker has a spark, and the reason they're called planeswalkers is because they literally can walk from plane to plane, and that's how they kind of create this overarching thing where it's not just, all right, there's Dominaria, and then there's this random place. Then we're back to Dominaria, and then we go to another random place. Yeah. Now everything is connected because these planeswalkers can walk from plane to plane to visit all these different,
It could be very awesome.
worlds.
It could be very crappy, depending on which... Because it's probably going to set around some of the major planes. Like, Jace will be in it.
Yeah, Jace is definitely in it.
Chandra will probably be in it.
I'm guessing...
making decisions already.
No, he's the planeswalker. My guess is it's going to be centered around Garuk, or however you pronounce his name.
That's how I say it.
But then Jace is going to be like the background Boba Fett style character. Where
I bet it's probably the Ravnica storyline.
Yeah,
I would almost bet that it's Jace and Chandra stealing the scroll, Jace chasing her down and encountering all the other planeswalkers.
That'd be cool. I'd watch
like a
that.
sentence to you?
It sounded like he was rapping.
He did. He was like fucking bust a fat beat over there.
I want to hear it now.
I'm gonna take the samples from this episode and put it to a beat, and I'm just gonna make like a nerdcore hip hop song that's just all about.
I totally want to hear what I just said.
Magic style.
I was just flowing.
Have any of you guys read The Strain?
No.
All but the last book. We've talked about this. I fell in love with that series. I think before you ever picked it up.
The TV shows.
I
read the first one before anybody else.
I read it when it came out.
So did I.
Whoa, hipsters!
No, I'm not
Getting
trying to be
deep
that,
in
but
here.
No, I mean, I just picked it up because of the concept. Like, I heard about it when he was hyping it, and then as soon as it came out, I snagged the audiobook. It's really cool vampires.
TV series is going to be on FX, and they've started posting photos and stuff like that. And the cast, I'm really happy with.
I haven't actually seen them. I knew they started. I just saw something on Facebook today about it.
Kind of it's about like vampires taking over. It's in the form of like a virus and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. It's almost like Outbreak meets
Vampires.
Awesome Vampires. I almost said Twilight, but they don't sparkle. It's written by Guillermo del Toro. He wrote the book with Chuck Hogan. Chuck Hogan! Yeah, he's directing the first episode.
You did say it's a TV show.
It was originally going to be a movie, but they ended up scrapping that.
He wrote the whole thing as a movie, and they're like, well, no, that's not going to work. So he's like, all right, I'm going to make it a trilogy of books. But now it's going to be a TV series.
So fuck everyone.
He's promised that they're going to be vampires that nobody's really seen before. He said almost along the lines of almost like the Reapers in Blade 2.
That's exactly what I was trying to think of. I couldn't remember what they were called.
Because he directed that movie.
I mean, they're almost identical to the way they end up panning out in that.
I hated the Reapers in Blade 2.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I
hated those vampires.
It works well, though. You actually get both sides of the story in this.
I mean, I trust Guillermo del Toro, so I'm not against it. I just really
that's the only thing redeeming it for me right now is the Guillermo del Toro's involvement.
The cool thing about The Strain is the main story plays up the most average of characters. Like, you fall for these...
It's literally a group of people.
Like it's an old man, and he has no skills.
But he was like a vampire hunter.
Yeah,
he's literally got no skills. And he's like crippled with arthritis.
And then the other guy's like a pest control guy, and like these people have no talent.
Like a doctor for the CDC.
Yeah, I mean...
Is it kind of like The Stand-ish?
Very much, kind of.
Very much, kind of.
Outbreak meets The Stand meets vampires.
Yeah.
I feel like you should throw Walking Dead in there somewhere.
You get lots of independent stories that come together in a la The Stand, and then they form that group, and then they start to tackle the challenge, and then... I still haven't read the third one, but up to the point in the second one, like, you find out there's two overarching storylines. There's, like, the good guy story and the bad guy story, and not all the bad guys are bad guys, apparently.
Oh. I need to finish the second book.
You totally need to finish
I'm like halfway into it. You need to finish the third one.
Did you meet the Mexican character?
Gus?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, like he has a whole plot line that I won't...
Okay. But the cast list is awesome.
I haven't even heard who's in it. Anybody I know?
Abraham
Lincoln?
Satrakian, the old guy, the old vampire guy.
Probably Lincoln.
Was going to be played by John Hurt.
Oh.
But...
Not anymore.
He's not anymore. But I'm okay with his... They got the guy that played Filch in... Harry Potter films.
Yeah. I'm not as okay. I would have way preferred Hurt.
Well, yeah, because Hurt is a friggin' Oscar-winning actor.
I don't even care about that.
A friggin' acting legend.
He has the appearance of the character in my mind. Like, he looked exactly like I pictured him.
Who else is going to be in it? Vasily Fett, the Exterminator, is being played by I can't remember his name. Kevin something.
Smith.
He's the guy that played Blob in X-Men Origins Wolverine. He was like the tall mohawked one in Smoking Aces. I'm going to pull up a photo while I just ramble.
I know you're talking about. I can't
not have dead air.
He was in
Thanks, Steve.
The Rock movie, The Walking Tall, too.
Yeah.
Talking Wall.
That's one of the only Rock movies I haven't seen.
That sentence
it's
worked.
A great movie, by the way.
That's what everybody tells me.
It was one of the better remakes that I've ever seen.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Jim Kent is the main character's ex's like new like husband guy, isn't it?
It's either that or
Jim Kent, the CDC guy that's like helping them.
The co-worker or whatever.
Yeah, that's being played by Sean Astin.
Wow, here's a weird one. Didn't see that coming.
Yeah. Kevin, no, that's not him. Kevin Durand.
Oh, yeah.
Kevin Nealon.
Kevin Nealon, that's him.
Kevin Michael Richardson.
This
Kevin
guy.
Hart. Kevin Smith.
I still think Logan's right. Kevin Hart.
Is that dude looks like fucking...
If you say Blob from X-Men, we're going to smack you.
He looks just like Blob from X-Men.
He looks familiar, but I don't know why I know it from.
He looks like fucking Michael Weston off of...
oh, yeah. I think that's what I was thinking of.
You know that guy for always and ever will be the character that I remember him from in Hitch. Like, I can't picture him as not the douchebag Vance. The guy, the main character from Burn Notice.
Oh, really?
Michael Weston.
The first thing he ever did...
His name is...
It's him as Blob.
First thing he ever did was Vance Mutton in Hitch. He was the douchebag that got kicked in the nuts and his head went up the bull's ass.
I totally don't even remember what he looked like.
I watched Hitch way too many times. I'm sorry.
I thought I did, but apparently not enough.
This is one of my favorite rom-coms. So,
but he's a good actor, and he's physically imposing, so he'll be a good fat. Who actually, like, his whole weapon of choice against the vampires, he ends up just grabs, like,
pipe wrench and
no,
shit.
yeah, like rebar. It's like, it becomes like his little weapon.
Nice.
But that's going to be awesome, and it's everybody that's looked like they started filming, but they read the script and everything, said it's going to like revolutionize like TV horror, like along the way that like American Horror Story.
The great thing about the books is it's not like the enemy is just not an overwhelmingly overpowerful vampire, except for the big bad one. Most of the average ones, like, you could fight and live. It's just going to suck.
They're swarms.
Pun intended.
And it's written like a movie, so it's a really fast read because it's short chapters, quick cuts, things like that. So you're like, oh,
you could tell he did not want to make it a book, but ended up doing it.
Yeah.
I would be alright with this if we could make a new rule that says that every time a new vampire show comes on TV, another one has to fall off.
Like Vampire Diaries.
Yeah, because there's Vampire Diaries, then there's, what's the one that's on like HBO or Showtime?
True Blood.
And then...
Yeah, but this is the one where, like, see, that's the thing. Like, those shows are like the sexy vampires. These are like the scary monster vampires, which are my vampires.
These are the Nosferatu vampires.
So that's what I'm saying. We can bring that on, but then get rid of the sexy vampires.
Those are like two separate completely things. Like, I wouldn't even put them in the same category. Those are like... I don't know. It's hard to explain what I'm trying to say.
I will always and forever stick to my guns and say that Anne Rice ruined vampires. Like, I don't care what anybody says. She completely and totally took something that was scary and made it just ridiculous.
Explain.
Sexy.
How much Anne Rice have you actually read?
Just Interview with the Vampire. Just that one.
Well, originally vampires had just kind of like this hypnosis thing where they could control people.
Yeah, mesmerize.
But in this, they went away from mesmerizing and then turned them into like every vampire is a sex icon.
Oh, well, yeah.
And all are omnivores.
True.
Like, every character is bisexual in her books. Like, I'm exaggerating only slightly, I promise.
Are you sure you understand what omnivore means?
I don't mean that. Technically, in the sense of a vampire, there's a little bit of eating happening both ways.
I think we need to redefine omnivore.
He's going down
I
some
meant
carrots.
for the double play on words, but I didn't mean for it to literally be taken as they only eat everything.
Omnivore.
But, like, I'd say 2/3 of the characters are bisexual or gay.
I feel like if you're a vampire living hundreds of years, you're eventually going to try a dick. You're eventually going to taste a penis.
But in the first book, it's weird though, because in the first book she says that because blood doesn't flow through their veins, they can't get erections. But then she like talks about the like weird erotic relationships that everybody has, and I'm like, how does that work without boners?
That's how most of my questions about women work. How does that work without boners?
Where's the boner go?
I've read probably a half dozen to a dozen of her books, and I'll never pick up another one.
Baker's dozen.
That makes a baker's dozen.
They all devolve so fast.
Yeah, movie was good.
The Queen of the Damned?
Queen of the Damned was probably...
great soundtrack.
I was going to say, I really like the soundtrack to that one.
Jonathan Davis was responsible for that.
Yeah, and it's like all of the people that were big in music at the time just all got together and had an orgy.
It was a great soundtrack. That's not even my type of music.
And then they called it Queen of the Damned.
Basically.
It really wasn't a terrible movie. It was probably the best one.
It was rushed at the end, though, but only because the lead girl died. So they kind of just had to go, all right, well, I guess we're done.
Yeah.
You see the lead girl, but she wasn't on screen a whole lot in the movie.
Yeah, but she's like
I know,
on the cover, and
I understand
she plays the Queen of the Damned.
She was the hip-hop princess at the time.
I wonder if she wasn't in it a lot. I mean, obviously,
she could get the business
because she died, but I wonder if she planned on being in there more than what they were. You know what I mean? Like, not just
they
at
had
the
to have
ending,
the
but
music
more
video.
at the beginning. What?
I said they didn't get to put the music video in there.
The one that paired with the movie. That's how the 90s worked.
What song was it that was paired with the movie? I can't remember.
Forsaken.
Was it for? Yeah.
Oh, you're talking about the Corn one. Where I think he was making.
It's Jonathan.
Fun
I
of
was making a joke because they got like a hip hop star to be
and that's how they tied everything in the 90s, if you remember right.
Yeah.
There was a video that went with
Or
everything.
put DMX in a Steven Seagal film.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah. What was that Cradle to the Grave?
Like 6 of them. Name one. They did like 5 of them back to back.
They were good friends.
You guys ever notice? I always really appreciate that. Like during his heyday, all of Steven Seagal's films were based off the fact that they could be put on a poster preceding Steven Seagal is.
Yeah.
Like Steven Seagal is hard to kill. Steven Seagal is under siege. Steven Seagal is trained by death or whatever. Like it was all like it could be a sentence. It was all his films.
Steven Seagal is hard as a rock.
Yeah.
It's a different movie.
Steven Seagal is now playing blues for some reason.
Steven Seagal.
What? That's Rob? Have you seen that photo?
That's like my favorite little picture on the internet.
It was like a McDonald's receipt, like someone like said,
No,
I told her Steven with a PH.
He was
and she wrote
B&B.
PHE.
Steven.
Steven. And somebody put a picture of this Donald's like dirt face. It's so perfect. It's like Steven. I'll pull it out. I can't believe you haven't seen this.
It was on Reddit front page not long ago.
I may have seen it just
Oh man,
Yeah, it goes through waves on Reddit because it started off on Reddit like in 2011 or 12.
I laughed
That dog
really
has his
hard.
own Facebook page
No, that's
now.
totally McDonald's because it says like thank you for choosing underneath.
Oh,
it. They do names on McDonald's tickets nowadays. They ask you for your name.
I thought he said something. I haven't seen it with that picture. What I've seen it with is a duck.
No, that dog's awesome.
Oh, that's great. Way to confuse the person at McDonald's.
You only have to give him your order for that to happen.
Yeah, true that. Steven, that dog's teeth are awesome. So, in other news, one quick tech thing I wanted to mention was that there's a really cool thing I saw that I'm going to read. Basically, this was the headline. Wearing a state-of-the-art exoskeleton, a paralyzed teenager will make the first kick at the World Cup in Brazil this summer.
That's awesome.
It's going to be basically very similarly controlled to the technology we talked about earlier, the guy who could walk without any special implants or anything. That I guess the whole suit is going to work that way. So
Iron Man has begun.
I'm so fucking pumped. They had no pictures of it or anything in the article, but
Iron
just
Man, that's
that
Cyborg.
Yeah, yeah, that's more Cyborg there, I guess, because Iron Man can walk without the suit. But
I said has begun.
Which Cyborg getting the suit ripped out of him in New 52 is kind of terrifying and gruesome. But he's basically just a floating spine right now with a half a face.
He just goes,
that's kind of creepy.
Have you seen the Japanese exoskeletons?
Yeah, the ones that you can buy and like drive to work. Have you seen those?
I don't think I've seen those.
Those are pretty amazing. I'll look that up for you. They're like $10,000. You can buy it. And it's actually a street legal car, but it has like a rapid fire BB gun on it, like all kinds of amazing shit. It's like $13,000, I think, when I looked them up when I saw it. But you get it customized,
it's gotta
and it
be
has
more
like
than that, because this is something ridiculous enough that's in price range for somebody to buy.
It may have been more. I can't remember, but I was so excited about it when I saw it. I was like, I can own that thing and drive it to work. And it was because I remember it said something like, with the camera on your face, whenever you smile, it fires the BB gun. Oh no!
So it would never stop as soon as you laugh
at somebody, light them up, and then laugh some more, and then it's a vicious cycle until you're out of BBs. They're dead.
It's basically one shot.
Yeah, what I saw was just like a backpack that had like a robot arm that goes right alongside your arms, and then it reads your brain waves to know when you're moving your arms, and then it'll just follow what your arm movements are, but at like robot strength. So they like had this guy hold his hands out and they put sandbags on his arms, and he held one sandbag. They went to put the second one on and he dropped them. Then they were like, all right, now put the suit on. So he puts the exoskeleton suit on, and they just load him up with like 20 sandbags, and he's just standing there not moving at all because the robot arms are there. And one of the Japanese guys, they were translating it, and he was like, yeah, it took us a long time to get the thing just right, because if it's not sensitive enough, then when you apply weight to it, the arms will drop at a fairly fast rate. And if we put the sensitivity really high, it'll move so fast or go too far that it will break the guy's arm. And I was like, that would be bad. To be like, I'm going to lift my arm up, and then you just like fucking shatter your elbow somehow.
What was that? You almost have to wonder how many guys they went through before.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was thinking like in
they had to break
The Rocketeer, where they're like showing the reel of the jetpack testing, and everyone like shoots up in the air and explodes.
Was it Iron Man 2? I think that they did a similar thing when they were showing Justin Hammer's Iron Man. I think that's the movie.
He crushes him.
Where he's like, he's wearing the suit, and he like goes to reach his arm out, and his arm breaks, and then he goes, and then he like turns, and his spine breaks,
it just
and
like
the suit just goes over
spins
him
in a circle.
And he was like, oh, that was not good, was it?
Oh, this just in. Apparently, Gal Gadot, her contract is for 3 pictures.
Interesting. I want to see
as Wonder Woman.
Oh, okay.
Interesting. I love it.
Gal Gadot.
She looks gorgeous, and I want to be inside her. So here's something we need to talk about. Nintendo.
Billy's drinking problem.
Well, it's going to lead to Billy's drinking problem. Nintendo has announced that, I guess, officially kind of confirmed for the public that the Wii U was a flop, and that they have slashed their sales goals by basically 70% for the upcoming year. But here's something. So that is obviously a big deal. They really need to rework what they're fucking doing. We've talked about this before, but like their mobile library needs to be made available for 3DS and things like that.
What pisses me off about that is if you're a Power Up Rewards member or whatever it's called, I think that's actually what it's called.
That's what I am, yeah.
You can actually at random times spend your Power Up Rewards coins on like retro games, but you can't ever buy them anywhere.
Oh, I know it. And here's the other bullshit with that.
The ambassador program, when that happened, like for the early adopters of the 3DS, like long story short, 3DS flopped originally for the first year because, a handful of people bought it in comparison, and then they started to release the games and people bought them like crazy, but
now it's their number one selling console.
Yeah. But because of the way it worked, they gave the early adopters, when it was still in the rough stages, the ambassador program, which was 20 free games.
That's awesome.
And
I didn't know about that.
They were from a retro library of any games except for a few franchises. Like I don't think you get Pokemon and a few other things or something like that. But we're talking from like SP and Advance before.
Yeah.
So like they got all these games that you can't even buy on the fucking virtual console.
When I used my coins the very first time, I think I've talked about this on the podcast. I got Super Smash Brothers for the Wii U with my Nintendo Power Up Rewards, whatever it is. Because I'm like a platinum member now with all the shit that I bought.
I'm just short of it.
I use my coins to buy Super Smash Brothers, and it sends me a digital code, and I was like, oh, cool, I'll redeem that. And I just didn't think about it, and I was like 2 weeks later, I was like, oh, let me redeem that. And it was like, this product is no longer available. Like, are you fucking kidding me? So it took my coins, gave me a code, and then won't give me a digital product that I paid for.
Yeah, I've heard of that actually happening to a couple people.
It's just horseshit. But that's a problem, and that's what they need to correct. I mean, they have a lot of games, like they have some of their Mega Man and stuff like that on their Nintendo eStore now, but what they really honestly should do is release that retro library. I'll pay fucking $3 a game, $5 a game for some of them. Like, you give me all the Mega Mans in a bundle, give me $5 a piece and put every one of them in there for me. Yep. That's what I'm
Hell, I bought that for GameCube when they released that.
Yeah, the Mega Man
collection, yeah.
That was an awesome disc. GameCube had a lot of awesome discs like that.
Yeah.
Like, you got the Master... Boy, I thought I said that wrong.
The Ocarina of Time Master Quest.
Yeah, with the reverse dumb...
Billy's a reverse dummy. What's wrong with you?
With reverse dungeons, like everything was mirrored, which was a cool concept, but made it really fucking hard.
Fucking muscle memory was just shot.
Yeah, you couldn't do the water temple functionally without wanting to kill someone.
Yeah.
Like, it was hard the first time you did it before you could cheat, and then you knew it the second time.
Yeah,
before you could cheat.
Fucking
there were no walkthroughs. There was no Googling that.
So, Nintendo has sucked it up this year, but has anyone heard of Nintendo Fusion lately? Or yet? Mark actually just brought this to my attention today. So I started Googling it. It's this news that's been all over, I guess, everywhere for the last couple days. Basically, it's some, I guess, specs that got leaked. The article was not very clear on it, but it has some incredibly specific specs for a... I guess they said that some insider said that Nintendo's next big move, they basically went on to say the Wii was a flop. Wii U's been a flop. We're making our next gen console. And they're actually putting some fucking heat in it. These specs here are, like I said, I have them written. I'm not going to rattle them off because there's way too many, but they're calling it Nintendo Fusion, and basically it's a console and handheld that go together, kind of like what I imagine the Vita and the PS4 are supposed to do. But they are doing what I said before, which was why their console, why I kept saying, why is the 3DS not even as powerful as the weakest Android phones and shit like that? And they apparently thought that was a problem too, because they put some fucking heat in this thing. So, just rattling off a little bit.
What's the processor they're talking about? That's what matters to me.
For the DS, an ARM V8 A Cortex A53 GPU. It's a custom Adreno 420 based AMD GPU as well. 3 gigs of LPDDR3, which I'm not sure what that is. They said the 2 gigabyte for games, 1 gig for the OS specifically. 960 by 640 capacitive touchscreen, which is exactly what should have happened a long time ago. It has a slide-out design, so I imagine it'll be like the old slider phones, essentially, with a custom swivel tilt hinge. Upper screen made of Gorilla Glass, comes with a magnetic cover. Low-end vibration for gameplay and app alerts. 2 motorized circle pads for haptic feedback. Thumbprint security scanner with pulse sensing feedback.
Let me stop you right there. I'd pay $500 for this.
Yeah. Fucking, the stereoscopic cameras.
I'm not even joking either. This is like a full-on, if the storage capacity is, does it say?
It says it comes built in with 16 gigabytes internal memory, with expandable with a 32 gigabytes.
Easily spend $500. It would replace my smartphone.
Bluetooth 4.0 compatible, compatible with, it says that used to interface with Bluetooth devices such as cell phones and tablets, which is unclear. GPS chip, NFC reader, 3300 milliamp Li-ion battery, and then
just slap a mobile band in it.
That's what it's getting to. So then this is what they're calling that the Fusion DS, or at least that's what the article did. And then they go on to talk about the console that'll go with it that they're calling Fusion Terminal, which that name
doesn't sound good.
It makes it interesting. Yeah.
The Nintendo Fusion Terminal.
It's got a custom Radeon HDRX 200 GPU, which is impressive for a Nintendo console.
Nintendo's always big on Radeon too.
Codenamed Lady.
And the Tramp.
The CPU is an IBM 64-bit custom Power 8-based IBM 8-core processor, codenamed Jumpman. They all have great code names. The co-CPU, which is an interesting idea, is a PowerPC 750-based 1.24 gig tri-core co-processor, codenamed Hammer. It's got 4 gigs of unified DD4 SDRAM, codenamed Kong.
How many gigs?
4 gigs.
That still seems underpowered, though.
Yeah, but it says 2 gigs DDR3 RAM at 1600 megahertz on the die, codenamed Barrel. So I'm not sure what they're going to do. They're putting.
It sounds like they're almost running parallel computers to do.
Well, they're probably doing like what the iPhone 5S is doing. It has what's called a coprocessor in it that basically is responsible exclusively for all of the motion sensor stuff. It's called a motion coprocessor. All the accelerometer, the compass, the GPS, the 6 different important pieces of hardware are all their processing are done exclusively through that. So it's super snappy on any of those things and way more accurate than relying on the processor that's also doing other functions to keep up with it. Did somebody knock at the door?
I thought I heard a tap.
I didn't.
All right.
You just ruined the podcast with nothing.
Everybody loves podcast.
That was the first official photo from...
Wireless, of course, wireless BGN, Bluetooth, coaxial cable input. That's interesting.
Well, that's not good.
1 cable card slot. 4 custom screen interface nodes, up to 4 Wii U gamepads. That's intriguing to me. That means that we could get a D&D game. That would...
It'll happen.
Yeah. Fucking... all kinds of interesting. It talks about its disk drive capability, and that's pretty straightforward.
What's the...
Inductive charging surface, up to 4 Fusion DS or Wii Remote Plus controllers.
I really love inductive charging. I hope
we all.
Yeah. I mean, the Nexus line actually has one for all of their products.
And it's going to come in 2 versions, a disk slot version with 60 gigs of internal flash storage or a diskless version with 300 gigs of internal flash storage. That last choice seems silly to me. Yeah, that seems really scary to me.
If it's not expandable in any way, that's very risky. That'll flop.
Unless they're game save. I mean, because game saves themselves on next gen consoles aren't very big, but they do a lot of basically saving from the disc, or like the Xbox. What it does is that they put so much data on the disc, and then when you put it in there, it has big downloads that it pulls to download the rest of the data. Like Assassin's Creed 4, for example, on the PS4, the multiplayer isn't on the disc. When you put it in the first time, it says download the multiplayer, and it just adds basically a patch to the game that adds more functionality.
Well, yeah, but I mean, if 300 gig on a diskless in general, like games are 20 to 30.
Well, that we don't know though. We don't know what they'll.
Does it have any cloud storage?
It wouldn't surprise me, since they're doing all the weird Nintendo. They're really working on their Nintendo network,
and that seems to be the wave of the future. Is the two things that it seems like everyone's pushing is cloud storage and diskless stuff, day one download stuff like that.
The thing with cloud storage, though, it doesn't work with like active loading game. Like you couldn't play a game off the cloud without huge buffers.
Well, no, but you could load a save file.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. For save files,
save files are tiny.
Well, I mean, that's what I'm saying is that's why the 300 gigs should be fine. As long as it's not actually saving any, I mean, like on the 60 gigs rather, as long as it's not saving any data from the game. The
60 was the one I don't have a problem with. The 60 one was fine.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, the 300 would just have to see what the size of their games are. They may have some crazy compression and shit that we don't know about. One of the interesting things it says is versions with this drive play Wii U optical disc, Fusion holographic versatile disc, and Nintendo 3DS card slot. So we could have a Wii U that takes 3DS games.
Super Game Boy.
Well, that's like I've been saying, is the Wii U should fucking play 3DS games. There should be some attachment that you can buy somewhere that'll let you plug into 3DS, and maybe even if it just plugs in with USB to the console.
Nintendo originally had the idea
back
in the 90s.
Back in the day. Super Game Boy. It turned like 3 colors into the original Pokemon. That's when we played the original Pokemon, was on the Super Game Boy.
I played it through Pokemon Stadium. Well, correction. I played it on my Game Boy, but then I would hook that bastard up to Pokemon Stadium and play Duo mode and Trio mode when you unlock those for super speed.
I played it on my Super Nintendo through Super Game Boy.
I remember the year I got Super Game Boy.
And it was like 4 colors.
That was the greatest.
So what do we think about this crazy Nintendo revelation?
I mean, how much legitimacy is to this? I haven't even heard of it.
That's the key.
Mark mentioned it to me, and I had not heard of it. So
you mean that hypocritical douchebag? I hope you're listening. I know.
He knows you enjoyed WildStar now.
I mean, we know nothing about it.
What?
WildStar. We're not pressed, technically.
Well, no, you can say you enjoyed it or not, right?
Technically, you're not supposed to even say you're in the beta.
Oh, well. I'm fired! He had mentioned it to me. He's like, hey, you guys should make sure you talk about Nintendo Fusion. And I was like, oh, okay. And I went and Googled it, and it's only been the news is only today and yesterday, but it's on tons and tons of news sites. And that information, I mean, as you can see from my fucking spec list, that's wildly specific information for it to be.
It really is. And I'll give you that. I mean, I would be okay with a new console as early as this year.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying is that I think...
Yeah, I'm waiting for them to get a new one from the Wii.
Yeah. I think that...
To be fair, it was an upgrade. It just didn't go all the way.
One thing that I read in there was that I guess with that architecture, that it will eliminate backwards compatibility, which is sad but good, necessary.
That's the world we live in.
Yeah, that's what everybody's already done.
But the other thing is that what I'm nervous about is that if this hardware is their next-gen console, they're already out of date. If it's their current-gen console, they've got a fucking speed. I mean, if they're going to say the Wii U failed and we're going to do a start over, try again, then they've got a lot of work to do very quickly before. You don't want to give PlayStation, especially fucking Sony, you don't want to give them time to get a foothold in when get their game library ramped up. Look what happened with the PlayStation 2 when people underestimated that fucking console and how many games they had. Hundreds of games in a month. It's just it was ridiculous how quickly that game library went.
The first year sucked.
And that's what I'm saying is don't let them have time to get entrenched. That's
the main problem with the PlayStation 3 was the first year was dead.
That's
everyone, it was like an internet meme was, but where's the games? Where's PlayStation 3's games?
That's the thing is that with the PS2, it was they were buying licenses and titles and things to make it work. With the PS3, they just fucking said, well, games will come to us.
Yeah.
And so after a year, when that hadn't picked up like they thought it would with the PS2, and also their problem was how they decided to try to monetize it, but when it hadn't picked up like the PS2, it was already too late. The Xbox, the 360 won that console, as far as I'm concerned.
They for sure did.
Because they they let Microsoft get entrenched with their fucking titles and everything that they thought were coming their way. Whereas with the PS2, their way to make money, they knew that they were going to lose money on every single console they sold, but they bought so many licenses and so many titles, and they just released a lot of the JRPGs and shit that they had so many of that they overwhelmed the market with games so that there was no hope for the original Xbox to compete against anyway. But with the PS3, they decided they were going to make money on the console and the games, and that's why that fucking thing launched at $700, and nobody could afford it. Well, some people couldn't. People were murdering each other for them in the line. But if that's what I'm saying, if Nintendo waits too long on this thing, I don't want them to rush it out, but then at the same time, I also don't want them to... Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't want them to wait so long that if they give these two current-gen consoles now time to get entrenched and get their foothold, it's going to be too late.
If we don't see that by this Christmas or first quarter next year at the latest, then it won't have a chance to compete.
Yeah.
They'll still be behind. They'll fail again.
That'll be the tough part, and that's what I said. Unless they say this is our next gen console, they wait maybe 2 years and they beef it up beyond this, then they might have a chance. But if they try to say it's our current gen console now since the Wii U failed and they don't get it out quick enough, they're going to fuck themselves.
The other thing is, I mean, at this point they can't afford to wait any longer. Like the Wii U, they're not going to have developers. Like they're going to have nobody making games for it. They're going to have
first party and then all the second party people they've signed. But I'm excited to see what happens with that, what comes of it. But I mean, like these specs, like I said, some of these things, like as Billy said with this, with the mobile, the Fusion DS, that sounds incredible. That's exactly what I said. I think 2 or 3 pods ago. That why haven't they turned it basically into an Android phone where it's got that kind of power just with their OS on it?
Yeah,
it doesn't make sense that like I've said a million times, my LG G2 is more powerful than an Xbox 360. Why can't Nintendo put that in a handheld?
And
or at least get rid of the fucking resistive touchscreens. Why not have capacitive? Christ.
I got a foil wicket.
Nice. Steve opened his box and got, what is it? One of the gliders? Is that what this is?
The Ewok ones?
Yeah, it looks like an Ewok glider. I'm not sure what it is in pieces. It's hard to make it out.
Yeah, it looks like it.
But anyway, so... yeah, that's interesting news. I'm excited to see if Nintendo can do something with that, then they might have a chance. But as of right now, they are in dead last as far as the console wars are going.
If they don't, then we won't see games for that 6 month to a year period afterwards. So by the time we're seeing games for it, the PlayStation and Xbox have had 3 years worth of time.
Yeah. What I really hope doesn't happen is that they say, this is our new current-gen console, and this is what we're going to wait to release, like Zelda and Smash Brothers and things like that.
I'll cut a bitch.
I will be so furious, because that's half of the reason I bought it immediately for Pikmin 3, because that was one of my staples that I wanted. But then, obviously, with the future thought that I'll buy Zelda and Smash Brothers, Mario Kart, those things. So they better not pull that shit on me. But
if they have a console without one of those
or at least
titles,
a port. If they give me a port to it, I'll accept that as well. Because it is an HD console, and I'll accept a port for a Zelda.
Like they did with GameCube. And
right. If they give me like with Twilight Princess, exactly. If they give me a port for it, then I'll be okay with that.
A lot of people actually said the controls for that were better on GameCube than they were on.
It was.
I played it on GameCube. I didn't have it for the Wii U. Or Wii.
I didn't think they were bad at all. I enjoyed it on the Wii.
Yeah. I don't remember it on the Wii.
Played it 3 times now. All the way through.
No, wait, maybe I did own it on the Wii, but I don't remember. I thought I bought it for the GameCube. Anyway, yeah, so like I said, this looks very interesting. They're doing a lot of weird stuff, which is classic Nintendo. Hopefully we hear more about this, but Nintendo Fusion, as I've said...
They might be trying to keep it hush till E3.
Could be that's their goal.
E3's too far away.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Well, unless this was just a real, like a legitimate leak that... somebody just told somebody and wasn't thinking about it or passed off like, hey, I just got this from Nintendo and passed off a spec sheet immediately. So could just be a super early leak on what they plan on doing.
I can dig it.
But
don't leak it. Okay, I gotta check this out.
Oh, did you hear the thing about the Tarantino movie?
This is my not caring face.
He canceled it.
Yeah, what was it called? The something hate,
like the Hateful Eight.
Hateful Eight. That's what it was. He canceled the movie because one of the 3 of his main actors released the script.
It came out to be he gave it to 6 of his close personal friends to read. 3 of those were guys he wanted to act in the movie. A couple of them were for Reservoir Dogs. I can't remember their names.
It was there's
Michael
Madsen, and there was fucking Bill Hearn.
Yes.
And one other person. But he said he knew for certain it wasn't one of them. It had to be one of these two people. And because of it, he was pissed off and said he's shelving the movie. He's not going to do it.
He's narrowed it down to, he's almost 100% positive from what I last read, that it's Madsen's agent that leaked it.
Yeah, that's pretty shitty.
It's very shitty. I mean, it's shitty that it happened. It's dumb that he's being...
A lot of people are saying, well, granted, he trusted the people he gave it to. Like, if I gave it to one of you guys, I would trust you not to, fuck
Absolutely.
it over. And that's he trusted the people he gave it to. But a lot of people are saying, why didn't you watermark it individually like everyone everywhere does? Like apparently one of the big things is they put in unique watermarks on each script that they hand out, so that when they get leaked, they know who did it.
To sue.
Exactly. And he didn't. He copied and printed them all himself and gave them out. And that's like they're like, you kind of did this yourself, man. That's what happens.
Well, the fact, I don't know, it just bugs me just being a little kid about it. I mean, shit happens. It was going to get leaked anyway before the movie was released, one way or the other, so.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Fucking, Rob, you got anything to talk about? You haven't really got to say anything that really this time.
I've got a couple things.
Hit us.
This first one may start off seeming oddly specific, but I think it's going to have huge ramifications for the way that we view technology in relationship to TV stuff. The WWE Network is launching, and it's going to have 24-hour streaming. All of their programming is going to be live, so you can watch their 2 weekly shows, Raw and SmackDown, and then NXT will be migrating.
That's still going to be on cable.
That's not what I heard.
Yeah, they're still fighting over their cable rights. They're going to show replays.
Everything I heard says that Raw and SmackDown are both live.
I watched the announcement live. Those are still going to be on TV.
All right.
They're going to do pre and post shows.
Yeah, I knew for sure they were going to do pre and post shows that were going to be live, but I could have sworn they said that everything was going to be live.
I mean,
but that's not even the big thing. The main news is that pay-per-views are now all going to be on that service now.
Huge.
So instead of spending $60 for each one of those every month, you're going to pay $10, and that's including WrestleMania, which will be, I believe, the very first pay-per-view that's going to be available through the network.
Yep, that's the first one.
That's probably what inspired the whole channel, because they were probably losing money from piracy.
Yeah, the pay-per-view industry as a whole is definitely dropping down.
I mean, at least at that price. You can still do pay-per-view on
also severely overpriced.
Well, and what I heard was that the WWE barely makes half of that. The rest of it's gone to like Dish Network or whoever. Yeah. So they only make about $30. So now they're going to be making $10 instead, but all they have to do is reach 3 times that amount. But for a bunch of people that have fallen into the casual category, which is where I've been for the past 7 months, I've fallen into the casual territory. That's one more person that's going to be switching from being a casual to being, a potential diehard. If I have the entire collection at my hands and I can watch, pay-per-views just right there ready. This
says that it does have live streaming Raw and SmackDown shows.
See?
Arriving in late February as part of the newly announced WWE.
Yeah, everything I've seen said
that. Late February, this year or next year?
It starts February 24th.
Yes.
It's coming up soon, because that's when WrestleMania is.
These are in addition to a variety of other content, including an on-demand library of previous pay-per-views, new original shows, and the ability to live stream every monthly pay-per-view match, which arrives after February 24th.
And something that's interesting for older school wrestling fans, the WWE owns the rights to not only their old WWF stuff, but WCW, WCCW, AWA.
Late night black and white stuff.
Yeah, everything basically.
This is going to launch with every WWE/F, WCW, and ECW pay-per-view. It's going to launch with over 1,500 hours of archived footage already.
Yeah.
Plus original, they have 6 or 7 original programs.
Yeah, they said that their goal by the end of, I think it's next year, is that they're going to have 11 years worth of footage, basically. So it's going to be impossible for you to watch everything that they're going to have available.
That's cool.
Is there a big enough fan base to keep it in business?
Absolutely.
Yeah, most definitely.
Raw pulls in on a regular basis 7 or 8 million households.
Which I get. But my point is, it's an extra cost on top of cable. And the other thing is, think about the vast majority of people, maybe it's just me that I know that watch wrestling, is a poorer crowd. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with them.
That's not entirely true.
Just out of all the people I know, you guys are the only ones I would even consider middle class that watch wrestling.
It spans all kinds. I know people that are very well off.
And I'm sure you do, and you probably know a wider
also
audience.
Those people also, I know people that only buy one pay-per-view a year, and that's WrestleMania, and that's $70. That's 6 months.
Yeah.
And their pay-per-views that are $50 and $60
I know how much
on a monthly basis pull close to 1 million buys. And that's on a regular basis. That's 60 a month, not 10 a month. They're going to make money. They said they have to have 1 million subscribers to break even. They're going to make money hand over fist.
Yeah, they're basically already guaranteed enough to break even. With as many people that already get the pay-per-views, and then adding into maybe half of those, or a quarter of those even, that are watching Raw on a weekly basis, if they go in on it, then they've already made their money
It's
back.
interesting because I think that they're one of the only type of, I don't want to say genre, but I think you know what I mean when I say that could probably pull it off just because of their extremely lengthy history and how it's almost kind of timeless. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That if it can be pulled off with that specific with any one type of thing, one theme, one genre, that might be it.
Yeah. And I mean, there's so many like huge moments of nostalgia and stuff that like as soon as I heard that they were going to have so many different like pay-per-views available, it just kept coming to mind. Oh, now I can show Megan and Peyton this thing, that when I was a kid blew my fucking mind. Yeah. I can go back and show them this pay-per-view and not just have to like explain it or try and find some grainy footage of it on YouTube. No, I can find it in an updated high definition transfer of this old pay-per-view.
Not to mention all the probably hundreds of thousands, close to probably maybe millions or more people that pirate and stream those pay-per-views will happily pay $10 a month to get an HD feed of it.
Yeah, definitely. And you can watch it, live.
We're not talking a lot of money. $10 a month is not bad. And you don't pay it all up front. It's not like it's a 6-month commitment. They're not asking for $60 up front. They're asking for $10 a month. They charge you on a monthly basis just for the commitment.
I get where Billy's coming from, though, only in that I would say that it'll be difficult just from the people who watch it because it's free right now, that they might not carry over. I guess as long as like Raw and SmackDown, the things that are free now, stay that way and stay on those channels and don't go exclusively to that, then I think it'll be okay. But if they move that over, they might have some trouble there with their existing fans who don't want to pay an extra $10.
They're going to have to have it stay on cable because they have plenty of viewers out there that don't get high-speed internet.
Or beyond that, even not even about high-speed internet, but they might have a lot of younger fans
who aren't internet thing. Like
it's done over the top. Yeah, it's streaming. It's not a TV network.
Okay, I thought it was.
I didn't understand that either.
No, it's done. It's going to be done.
You won't do it on your computer exclusively.
Computer.
They've already set up an agreement with PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. Yeah, it's like Netflix, Crunchyroll. It's all that kind of style.
They haven't announced it yet, but it's also going to. It's pretty much a given that it's going to be Chromecast and Apple TV as well.
Last I heard that Chromecast was a definite yes.
It's pretty much an app.
This is something that, let's say, the average user who doesn't want to pay for cable but always will pay for high-speed internet can still jump on board with.
Which is, with me, I don't have cable.
Much bigger
I watch Raw and SmackDown and Superstars and NXT. I watch all that stuff on Hulu, but I have to wait until the next day. Now I can stream it live as it's happening with everybody else.
I bought a Roku last week.
Then I don't have to worry about motherfuckers on Facebook going, oh my gosh, did you see this heel turn? Oh, did you see Daniel Bryan did this? And then I'm like,
starting to get all the apps rolling.
Way to ruin it, bitches.
I've already made my choice.
How much you spend on a Roku? I don't actually know how much they cost.
$100.
Damn.
But it's
so bad for my Apple TV, but I don't need one anymore.
Expandable memory card slot, so you can actually watch things from that USB slot.
Which we haven't talked about since we found that out the other day. The Xbox One and the PS4 will not do streaming from a fucking a flash drive.
Oh, yeah, that's dumb.
Either one of those sons of bitches. Their previous consoles both did it just fine, but I can't plug a flash drive into either one of my next-gen consoles and watch a movie off of it now like I used to. Whether it's an AVI, MP3, MP4 format, doesn't matter what. I can't watch fucking shit off of a flash drive in these new consoles. Neither one of them can do it when both of them can do it before.
Check. That's surprising.
Yeah, that's what me and Steve found that out, and I was like, oh, surely we were trying to watch, what was it? Batman, Dark Knight. We were trying to watch the Dark Knight movie because Brittany had never seen it, the two-parter. And I was like, I'll just look it up online. There's probably just some app to download or whatever. Nope, next-gen consoles don't do it at all.
Could the previous gens do it?
Yeah,
because I thought that every time I tried to do the 360, it says that it has to reformat the drive and it would erase everything.
Nope, I've done it 100 times. You had to, in the very, very, very beginning, you had to download an update that would let it do it, but it was just like a firmware update, or maybe just a codec pack, I'd wager.
Probably codec.
The PS4 has done it natively, immediately, no questions asked. You plug it in, and it immediately pops up.
You had to put it in a specific folder titled "Video" in all capitals.
In the PS4?
Yeah,
no, you didn't.
That's the only way I could ever get it to play.
Nope, I've always just put it in there, right, just in any folder.
I never tried it with the old ones, but I knew you could do it, and then what? I
don't get why they did that. That doesn't make any sense. I completely get why they did that, and I think it was a shitty idea, but just to force more of the streaming pay for our, because they both have like the buy your movies and the rentals and things like that. That's horseshit to try to force that on people instead of just giving me the option to play my streaming movies.
Another thing is they charge way too fucking much for non-tangible
movie rentals
copies.
And things, yeah.
Because it'll go, like, you'll want that space for something, or, the service will eventually end, or when they jump to the next console, and this console's getting put away, you'll have to hook that one up if you ever want to watch that movie again. Fuck that.
A digital movie rental to me should be no more than $5.
And that's even pushing expensive, considering I can go to Redbox 4 feet away.
$1. Yeah.
Well, $2 for high def.
Oh yeah.
The PS3 has a Redbox app.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So does the Xbone and PS4.
So does Roku.
Yeah. And the Apple TV. So just a couple random complaints there at the end. But Steve has built his ATST here. And it looks pretty cool. So this is apparently, this is a game or something you play, yeah?
It's just a mini game, yeah.
Looks actually really cool.
You just build them.
Anybody, what else you got, Rob?
In honor of us changing our name to Nerd Wars, I figured that I would bring up a debate every new episode to kind of get us to a fight with.
It's pronounced GIF.
Before we go into this, since it'll take a minute, I'm sure. One thing I want to mention is they just announced today that they're going to work on a tie-in movie with Pixar for Star Wars.
Yes.
Okay. Sold.
Yeah.
Well,
we were discussing that before.
I don't need any more details.
I meant to drop it earlier, but Pixar is going to do a Star Wars movie that probably ties in with Episode 7. Almost directly, almost the way Marvel does their movies to, cool. Side by side.
They did announce, though, that the standalone films that they're going to make will not tie in.
That's
okay,
too.
Seven Samurai.
There's enough. There's enough fucking mythos out there for them to not have tie-ins directly to the main story.
Completely original, everything from the books, and never ever have enough
run out of material. Yeah, agreed. All right, Rob, drop us.
All right, so this first one, I'm pretty sure it's going to end up being really lopsided. But when I've kind of thrown out my feelers to get what everybody wants, everybody keeps saying this one, so I'm going to go ahead and get this one out of the way in the first episode, and that's Star Wars versus Star Trek.
Star Wars.
Yeah, for me it's going to be Star Wars.
Yeah.
Obviously Star Wars.
My kid's named after a character from Star Wars.
See, and that's what I figured. I figured most people would go with Star Wars.
Yeah.
So I'm going to have to be the contradictory one and go Star Trek.
I am falling in love with Star Trek, though. I've trying to get caught back up now.
They are not mutually exclusive.
That's true. And that's I think that's been a dividing
and that's something that I think
but
a lot of people outside of nerddom don't understand, that there's people that like Star Trek and people that like Star Wars, and there's no overlap in the Venn diagram.
Both?
But so many people, And another thing that a lot of people I don't think realize is that the majority of Star Wars is movie-based, and then the majority of Star Trek is television-based.
Yeah.
And
you said that weird.
I did say that kind of weird.
You had to say television,
with
too. You didn't.
Telemundo.
Who doesn't fucking say TV, you animal?
I don't know. I'm the animal? Because I didn't shorten it? I said the full word?
We're people.
I'm sophisticated.
Do it right.
Are you from the past?
This is America, where we take shortcuts.
And I know you'll feel the same way too now. And you guys, you've I don't know why I'm acting like me and Rob are the only ones who have watched Star Trek.
Fuck you guys.
But
heathens.
I like those two for completely separate reasons. I feel, and I think you guys will all probably agree with this too. I feel Star Wars is more, and this sounds silly to even say it this way because they both are, but Star Wars is more fantasy.
Absolutely.
And it hits the different part of my brain that I enjoy things that are fantastic and impossible.
It's more, it's like a space opera that is like a fantasy thing that just so happens to take place in space. You could tell the same exact story and have it be samurais, and you would get the same thing out of it. You could have it be cowboys.
They're gonna.
Just include a little bit of magic, and you'd have a steampunk story. I mean, you could. That's an age-old tale. It just happens to take place in space. That'd be
so awesome for somebody to redo Star Wars as a steampunk.
I actually have 6 chapters worth on my computer.
Oh, I'm intrigued.
That's why I dropped that little hint, so that maybe somewhere down the road. But anyway. But then on the opposite, the polar side of that is the Star Trek. You couldn't take the star out of it and have it really be the same thing. Like, it would just be people trekking.
People in the living room just like, what are we doing today?
No, I mean,
we're hitting turbulence on this dusty road. What's going to happen to our wagon wheel? Like, it's not going to have the big impact that, there's a problem in the engine room. We're giving it all we've got, Captain. Like, these are big life and death, science-based, anomalies and aliens and stuff like that. I mean, it does hit a lot of the same sort of things that like an X-Men or something does, where it hits social politics and stuff like that as far as the way that we relate with aliens, and they're not really all that different and stuff like that. But at the same time, it's very, very based in science fiction.
Yeah, I agree. I think what's interesting is that, and I think you've said something similar to this before, so if I steal your thunder here, I apologize.
I probably stole it from someone else. It's cool.
Star Wars is very much focused on conflict. It's in the title.
It's wars,
it's very much there's always fighting in it, and Star Trek is the opposite of that, in that the objective is to avoid combat at any cost, to always be peaceful and always be just to interact and to learn new things, and that's one of the things I like about it. And also, what intrigues me, the further I get, especially like into the second season, what has really kind of surprised me a lot about that show, about the original series anyway, is that even though and you see it in modern TV, the same tropes are reused over and over and over, Star Trek still has completely original stories that I've not seen rehashed or redone. I mean, some of them you will, because they've kind of become built into your subconscious.
Yeah, and those ones are usually, they created the tropes that someone else took from Star Trek.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. Like, there's things that I'll see on there, like a lot of Star Trek, a lot of TV shows today, I can watch it and kind of go with the certain predictability. I know what's going to happen. I know what it is. But Star Trek, I still feel like in almost every episode, I'm in the dark until the reveal, and that's interesting to me. I really, really enjoy that about it, and that's one thing. The most recent episode I watched is where they find the Voyager probe that has kind of evolved. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah,
really, really
cool. What series are you on?
The original series, but season 2.
Oh, okay.
They just found one of our probes that we sent into space that we thought was destroyed, that had kind of fused with an alien probe and has taken on sentience, which is really cool. Really cool idea. And Kirk logic bombs that bitch. But I fucking love Kirk.
You just got Kirked, bitch.
It's so weird because before I started watching the original series, I was like, William Shatner, you always hear the big cheesy like play-ups of how fake he is and how awful he is, but he's really a fantastic fucking actor, and I love him in that show.
Yeah, in the original 2 seasons of that, like, that's some fantastic, like...
And he's fucking gorgeous to boot.
Yeah, exactly.
See, the Kickstarter actually made it, for the record?
What Kickstarter?
Tell me finish the 5-year tour?
With like 5-year tour?
The 5-year mission?
Yeah, that's what I meant. Sorry.
It was a Star Trek meets Gilligan's Island.
My brain just did it. I'm sorry.
Globetrotters on Star Trek.
Yeah, that's the name of the Kickstarter. It's 5-year mission, and their goal was to raise enough to be able to recreate the
final 2 seasons or whatever.
And it had John Cho on board as Sulu.
Oh, isn't that the internet show? 5-year mission?
It got the Kickstarter. Like, I'm pretty sure they met their goals, and now they're working on it.
Awesome.
So they're going to finish the series.
Cool. I wonder if that's the one that Sulu made an appearance in. He made an appearance in one of the internet shows, like just like a real brief cameo in like an episode or something like that.
It wouldn't surprise me because, I mean, John Cho's not a hugely famous guy.
Yeah, but he'd probably cost more money than the average YouTuber or
Excuse
something.
Me. He's from Hal and Kumar, White Cow.
Zing.
Howlin'.
My battery's gonna die.
Hank and Kumar.
I think it.
Yeah, that's what I've kind of noticed lately about Star Trek, and I really enjoy it. And as whichever one of you just said that those two aren't mutually exclusive, and and you know that, but I still prefer Star Wars simply because it is more fantasy and because fucking lightsabers.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, lightsabers. And who doesn't like fighting with lightsabers or spaceships?
Glow bats.
But and I should also say, because I kind of feel like an asshole like picking Star Trek, I will say I own almost every single Star Trek novel or Star Wars novel, and I also own almost every single individual comic book for Star Wars. I mean, I have a deep, deep connection with Star Wars.
You went a little bit Jar Jar there. I have a deep, deep connection.
Me's having a deep connection. He's a bomb match.
Did you have a different thing too? Because you said you wanted to bring that one first. Or was that just?
I'm just saying that's the one I wanted to do for the first episode.
He gave us a softball.
Yeah, there was no conflict there.
This one is one that.
Tell me why I'm wrong. Why Billy's wrong, Rob?
With which thing?
With Star Wars is his preference.
What?
Why is Billy wrong?
Because he's not smart enough to understand the complexities of Star Trek.
Which just fucking hurt Billy's feelings. That wasn't even Nerd Wars. That was assault. Shots fired. Assault. Billy looked up and was like, fuck you, man. I'm smart.
I was looking at Logan to try and gauge like how hard I was going to throw it. I was like, what is he trying to get from me? And I was like, fuck it, I'm going to 11.
When you said that, I wanted to hide my eyes.
Are you happy, Logan? Do you see what you've done?
Oh, my favorite Reddit story. Are you fucking sorry? You guys read that one? That's a good one.
Enjoy our last podcast. I'm burning the room down right now. I'm overloading my charger in the wall and blocking the door with my corpse.
Billy's gonna just fall in front of the door and think nobody will roll him over. Somebody grab Billy's leg.
I'm gonna hold a live wire when I go down to it.
I would like to point out that Billy just said that he was that fat. Billy's the one that said that.
Alright, well, I don't. Do you have anything else that you want to add? Billy? Do you have anything? You never have anything.
I had something.
Okay, go ahead.
I already said it.
What was it?
The Pixar thing.
Oh, okay. Don't diminish my contribution. Wait, anything else, Rob?
That's my main stuff.
Steve?
Oh, if you guys want to argue more, I can always throw
One
more
little
topics.
bit.
I want another topic.
StarCraft 2. I can't even pronounce words.
Electric Boogaloo.
The Legend of Curly's Gold.
The game actually just went free to play, essentially. Like, you can download everything, and the only thing you can't do is play you can do custom maps and stuff. You can't do the actual campaign.
No.
Which is fine, because most people just play it for custom. And you
the opposite of me. I played for the campaign.
I enjoy both aspects.
Yeah.
But you can go online and play it, custom maps and all that stuff, but you can't play ranked unless you buy the game, which makes sense.
Yeah.
However, if someone owns the game, they can spawn. That's what they're calling it. Spawn you a copy, and you can play ranked with them.
Cool.
So,
I own the game. Mark owns the game. Well, yeah, I bought it for him after I started getting into it, and it was his birthday. I think it was a birthday present.
I still have not played 2, and I loved 1 so much.
I loved 1 hard.
I don't know why. I
didn't even play it on PC. I played it on Nintendo 64 with the RAM Expander. That's what the little British guy called it who told me I needed one. The virtual RAM Expander. Yeah, so you played split screen StarCraft. It was great.
I played it, but I can't believe that's how you played it.
Me and my cousins spent hundreds of hours playing split screen co-op and fights, and we had these we won't attack each other for our first hour. We would just build and build and build, and it was great.
I used to do stuff like that with Magic the Gathering. We would call it 10-turn, what was it, 10-turn something. 10-turn treaty, 10-turn treaty. And it was just, we had an agreement, no one was allowed to turn. So the first 10 turns are just drawing and then amassing this ridiculous
And then
force.
one of the douchebags would go, next turn, Wrath of God.
Yeah. It's well, let's just unmake everything that we've just spent the last 15 minutes doing.
Douche hole.
No, that's the way that always works. That's why it doesn't work. Someone always builds the Wrath of God Armageddon deck.
Yep. Dickholes.
You were that guy.
Well, actually, no. What I was the guy that wasn't affected by that, because I would first turn play the library or whatever that makes it so I have an unlimited hand size, and then I just draw all my blue and white cards and wait for somebody else to wrath, and then once that happens, I just tap all my mana and bounce whatever's left or gain life off of stuff or do whatever I want because I have a 30 card hand or something.
Nice. Well, balls and wieners. If we don't have anything else, Rob, take us out.
All right, guys, make sure you check out our official website. We've got Facebooks and Twitters. We should be pretty easy to find. Some of it's still under the Nerd Reich, but most of it's being transferred over to the
page is still
Nerd
being
Wars.
Tweaked because
if you can't find us on Nerd Wars, check us out on Nerd Reich.